Shane, welcome on board. As a gig wealth, Muzi and myself have is connected to a few product suppliers, and the one that I'm very excited to be associated with is Capital Legacy because we already got a track record with them, and we can vouch for the quality and efficiency of their service countrywide. Where if we send them a lead, then it's within days. The person is followed up, an appointment is made, and people get quality advice. And Capital Legacy are right now the country specialists on all aspects of wills and testament. So at a recent session that Muzi and myself had with Shane, we said, Shane, just come and talk to our group and tell them why should people make that their very first priority before anything else they do to get a will and testament in place? And what are the consequences for not doing it? All right, you get going. Tell us about Shane and tell us about Capital Legacy.
So everybody, hello. My name is Shane, and I've been in the industry for 3 years now. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but I've done a lot of things to lead up to this point. So I'm just gonna take you back to the start, just give you an idea of where Shane really started back in '07, which was when I just came out of school. So I went into retail. I started as a till operator at Woolworths. I don't know if you guys ever go to Woolworths, but that's where I started my illustrious career. And I worked for many years in different roles across Woolworths. And about 3 years ago, having completed qualifications in industrial psychology, I decided I'm going to change my career and I'm going to do something that has tickled my fancy. And what I mean by tickled my fancy is I started reading a lot of self-help books. And one of the books that I read was How to Manage Your Money Like a Grown-Up. And I was really drawn to this because I thought to myself, if I could have the tools to make my life better from this book, I must use it. And I read the book, and a lot of the principles stuck with me, and it created a passion within me to explore the financial services. And so I left Woolworths in just when COVID had started to become a broker. So I joined Liberty, and for a few months I was a financial advisor there. During that time, I was unsuccessful. It was a difficult time for me. And just to give you an idea, to be a broker is not an easy thing. You have to go out, you have to source your clients. I don't know exactly how your guys' models are, but being a broker, you have to go out and you have to generate business and so forth. And I was introduced to the concept of Capital Legacy when I was a broker, because for me, it was an easy discussion to have with a client about their will. Mr. Client, have you got a will? No, you haven't got a will. Let us help you. But through the brokerage that I worked, it was difficult. You had to go through a wills department. Then they send you something back. We need this information. And it was a lot of back and forth. Then at the end of the day, you give your client a bill and you say, listen, Mr. Client, I'm so glad I could help you. Please, can you pay me $600 for drafting you this will? So I wasn't 100% happy with that. And I wasn't exactly 100% happy with being a broker because it was a difficult job for me. So during this time, I applied for two things. I applied for a job at Capital Legacy, and I applied to do my postgrad in financial planning, which is a qualification we have in the industry to make us, I would say, subject matter experts in financial planning. And when I did that, my life changed. So I moved into Capital Legacy. I did my qualification, and I've been at Capital Legacy now for 2 years in two different roles. So I started off as a testamentary consultant. We are the guys who actually, we write an RE exam. We are trained on how the system works. We are trained on the importance of a will. And we go and we see brokers, clients, and we say to them, Mr. Client, let me understand your situation because we want to help you with a will at Capital Legacy. Did that for a year and a half, and I've been now a BC since last year, September. So I'm in a new role in the company. I'm a broker consultant. And so what I do is I'm Jasper and Muzi's Capital Legacy connection. And thank you, Jasper, for inviting me and listening to my story. I know it's a bit long-winded. You must excuse me. I'm a little bit nervous, but I'm here and I want to share some some things with you guys on the importance of a will and what happens if you die without a will. So this is a simple document that we share with our clients, and it's just to explain simply what the consequences of not having a will be. So in the example of Sarah's dad, there was a will. This is if there wasn't a will. Let's say someone passed away and they never had the thought of doing a will. This is what would happen in a situation like that. Firstly, this is quite a no-brainer. Who's going to decide what must inherit from your estate and how? So inheritance. No, if you don't leave a will, we can't decide who's going to inherit what when your estate is distributed. Marriage. This is an important factor. The way you are married has an impact on your deceased estate. If you are married in community of property, when you die and you don't have a will, half of your stuff is going to your spouse, but then the other half, that will be determined by what is called interstate succession. I'll explain that a little bit for you guys, but in essence, interstate succession is where the government decides what must happen to your half. That's so just an example. If you are married and you don't have a will, you are failing your wife or your spouse, because when you pass away, there's nothing that is going to guarantee them anything in your deceased estate. When it comes to children, your children's inheritance could go to the government guardians fund or to a guardian who can just squander the inheritance. So if you have kids, you can't not have a will, because we need to know what must happen to the inheritance that we are leaving behind for those children. Number 4, feuds. If you don't have a will, your family are going to fight over the stuff that you leave behind. Number 5, delays. If you don't have a will, it's going to take a long time to wind up your estate, because your will determines who's going to be the person who's going to execute that stuff when you pass away. If you don't have a will, you then have to go after the fact, or your family have to go and they have to find someone who's going to do that for you when you've passed away. And number 6, guardianship. We speak about blended families. What about if you pass away and you were the only guardian of your child? Who do you want to be the guardian of that child? The will determines who you are nominating for those kind of things in your situation. So to speak a little bit more about what Sarah spoke about, Capital Legacy wants to make it easy for you to put your will in place. So what do? You can ask your, I don't know, your gig members or whoever wants to have a discussion with a professional to share their details with us. We then book an appointment with them and a place that is convenient for them. So we want to come out to the client, sit in front of them, and have a discussion about what's going to happen when they pass away. We factor in things like your retirement annuity, your life cover, your funeral benefits, the value of your assets, the age of your children, who you want as guardians for your children, who you want as trustees, until what age you want a trust to be set up, whether if someone wants to be cremated or buried. All of those things we will discuss once we've got the details of your clients. We will come and have the consultation and discuss all of those things to help draft a will for your clients. Then within 48 hours, we will then send that will to the client. I don't know if you guys remember my example in the beginning when I spoke about when I was a broker. 48 hours is almost unheard of. I mean, it's 2 days and we have your first draft will in your client's inbox, and they can then read this through, print it and sign it if they're happy. If they need to make changes, we have a dedicated consultant to help them to make those changes. And lastly, when they've printed it, signed it with 2 witnesses, we will then get a courier service to come and collect the original will. And we don't charge our clients for the collection or the storage of the will or drafting of the will. The only catch is, and it's not a catch, it's actually a nice thing, is that we say to you, if you want for a small premium per month, we can throw in the administration of your estate without charging your beneficiaries. So in a nutshell, this is what capital legacy does. There are a lot of other examples that we can maybe discuss. And if you guys got anything else that you want to share with me, I'd be happy to hear. But Jasper, from my side, this is some of the important things, and this is what I thought I could share with you guys this evening.
There is a house in Washington. They call the Isaac Sun. And it's been the ruin of many a poor boy.
It appears he didn't leave a will.
Well,